So, I've uninstalled and reinstalled Payday quite a number of times in the past few months. I was having a bit of a moral dilemma with Payday, I'll get to that later. First off, I'm just gonna try and go back to the period when Overkill started making more DLC. Like, around when the Sniper Pack came out. When the Sniper Pack came out, the hype was amazing, the hype was insane, everybody was so happy, sniper rifles finally coming to Payday. And you know, I had nothing against that, like, I had nothing against buying the DLC, and then the shotgun pack came, and it added a lot of variety to the shotguns. It felt a bit less strong, but overall, I think it was a good addition, you know, the extra ammunition. I really like the slug rounds, although, well, they never got any love. And then they just started adding all this weird stuff, all these new crew members and everything. And, around the hype train, that was basically the straw that broke the camel's back. It's when most of my friends quit, and when I myself just, I think, uninstalled for the first time, I was like, no, fuck that noise. Like, seriously, that €20 DLC pack just didn't do anything in the end. Literally just 4 glowing masks and an overkill van for $20, like, for 3 times the price of a mission. And simply the mentality of buy more DLC for more free content, or else. So yeah, that was around the time when I thought just the overkill policy, the overkill DLC policy was simply unacceptable. And I just uninstalled and went away and thought I would just, you know, completely forget about all this bullshit. But eventually, maybe a month or 2 later, I reinstalled because I had like one friend still playing, still farming for his 25 levels of infamy, posting screenshots of every single new fucking level of infamy you would get. Fuck you, Bertie. And you know, I just wanted to give the game another chance because I really liked the concept. I was really having fun in Payday 2. I didn't put 1600 hours in it before the hype train for nothing. I really liked the idea and everything. I really liked the challenge. I really liked having to put 1750 cal bullets in a tank op's head for them to die. I mean, by then I still had this other friend that was like, I am never playing this again because I do not want to support their business model. And I tried to sort of compromise with it myself, like, I wouldn't spend another penny into Payday 2 because I had already spent way too much. I had also already spent something like double the fucking Game of the Year edition, or I don't know what they released, this sort of pack that is supposed to contain all the DLCs, and in the end didn't even have all of them. So yeah, I gave the game a shot a little bit later, like that, after a while. Played it for a little bit, then just the guilt was a bit too overwhelming, because seriously, every time I reinstalled the game to just give it another chance, literally, during the same week, they would be announcing a new DLC, and that ended up being something I had big issues tolerating. So I just gave Payday the cold shoulder for a little while, and then at some point I was told about this whole weaponry revamp, and then then the hype about the skill tree revamp that I was aware of because I had forgotten to unsubscribe to the Payday community group. And so, you know, I just peeped back around the weapons update and everything. And when only the weapons update was out, I was really disappointed, especially in the fact that the Deagle was now one-shotting Gensex on Deathwish, and with the damage boost, was also one-shotting Tans. That was just I just found that ridiculous. I missed having to actually aim and use buffs correctly to two-shot Tans and Gensex with the Deagle. But you know, with retrospective, it's something that people have been complaining about, also as well about Deathwish, is the cops hit you like a truck and you just deal so little damage to them. I guess it's some sort of way of balancing it out better, so that it's also something that they did to like the AMR and the AK. You don't really have to push for damage anymore on these rifles. It's just handed to you. You have to manage the recoil and the accuracy. I don't know if they tweaked the ammo pickup rates on the weapons that do this high damage. And so, you know, I just gave those new weapons a shot and everything, but I was just not feeling it. So a couple dozen updates and hotfixes later, each one getting the Payday gang roster closer to that of a football team, they completely revamped all the skills. It was weird, like they gave a lot of skills actual meaning. They put a lot of skills back in the tiers where they should have been. They actually ended up nerfing Inspire, so you can't just spam it at somebody so that they can run to cover and things like that. I really like how they made it so that you didn't have to ace Iron Man to bash shields, and how they put first aid kits and med kits both in the mastermind. And I find it interesting that they put the special enemy marking back into quite a high tier. I see a lot less people use it in pub games. So with that whole skill, that big skill skill revamp is probably going to make a bunch of people angry. The same people that were angry when the Infamy came out about the fact that you didn't really need to specialize in Mastermind or Enforcer anymore to get really good builds. Because clearly, with the new revamp, Payday has stranded even further from that path. And I found it still somewhat balanced. You can make a combat build with very high ammo sustainability, with Inspire and whatnot, and all you want, fast reload speeds. But if you do that, you're going to have to sacrifice most utility, like hostage skills, drills, survival skills. Although I seriously despise this buff they did to the first aid kits. I mean, I accidentally raised myself like that during solo. I'm wondering what equipment I should use now. But anyway, all of that to say, Payday is a game that has a lot of flaws, a lot of really fatal flaws that everyone, I'm sure, loves complaining about. Like, yes, the netcode is broken and that is just unbearable. Yes, the game is very poorly optimized and each new heist that comes out is even worse than the previous one in that regard. And just the weight of the game, and the amount of DLC that they pump out all the time. But deep down, I still enjoy the game. I still really like playing it. I still really like playing it with other people, and running around on Deathwish and killing things, and getting downed all the time, and never getting top fragged because I don't know how to play this game. And besides all that, I feel that Overkill is sort of trying. They have rebalanced all the weapons. Now you have reasons to use any weapon besides the Car 4 and the Locomotive. Now all of the skills in the game make actual sense. Like, they even made Stockholm Syndrome useful. Can you believe that? And as a side to all that, they have really tried to make more free content. And as far as I've tried, like, the free content I've played was pretty good. Like, I really liked Meltdown. I think it's a brilliant heist. Impossibly hard. I love it. And in the end, I really want to give Payday another chance. I don't know if I should keep investing money in those DLCs. I probably will eventually because new missions are fun and I don't like missing out, as I'm sure most people don't. And I really just want to be able to sit down and enjoy Payday. As a friend of mine put it very eloquently, Payday 2 is a little bit like a bad boyfriend that has learned his lesson and is really trying to make up for it. So if like me you have struggled with Payday, or you just straight out hate the game because of all these flaws, give it another chance. It seems to be headed down a much better path, and I sure as hell am going to be along for the ride.